Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables, dregs to society, rock dwellers, all you sycophants, all you stinkos, all you hateful people who are patriots and celebrate the president. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. And joining me as my co-host is the patriot from the battle-born state, the silver state of Nevada, and that is Sharron Angle. Sharron, welcome to Conservative Commandos. And speaking of Nevada, Sharron, I know you have some news about the silver state.
Well, thanks, Rick. I'm pleased to be here again. And of course, I'm always scrounging for the Nevada-centric as well as the California-centric, since we have our AUN TV network there in Northern California and soon to come to Northern Nevada. So I know we have a lot of listeners over in Reno and Las Vegas and also in Long Beach on the radio. Well, I wanted to give you just some statistics. This is what COVID-19 has done to Nevada. We are on the high hardship index at 35.29. That means 35% of our population is in a hardship situation. We rank number one, by the way.
Wow.
In the United States. Our unemployment is at 25.3%, and our mortgage delinquency is now at 9.99%. So people are losing their homes. They've pretty much lost their jobs. It is sad. Nevada is the highest. I thought it was interesting. Hawaii's second highest. And the reason that Nevada and Hawaii are so close together in this is because our economies all depend upon people visiting. That's right.
Bingo.
Tourism. And so we've got Michigan at 3, New Jersey at 4.
Well, there again, tourism. You know, seriously, New Jersey, it's beaches, it's casinos. I don't know why people want to visit here, but they do. Beach,
the Garden
I guess.
State, of course.
It's also the garbage state. It's also California East, I like to call it. You know, Phil Murphy said that he admires California. He wants to turn it into another California.
Well,
you know, and you know, Sharron, I just hope the voters remember these governors that have put them out of work, that have put them out of business, that has destroyed the greatest economy ever in the history of the world. Why they want to get rid of Donald Trump? That's why.
Well, this is the issue, isn't it? Because those 4 are all Democrat governors.
Bingo.
And let's talk about the 5 least affected states: Nebraska, Idaho, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota. Okay, and we know what those guys did. They said, up to you. You feel threatened, you feel unsafe, you take care of yourself, which is freedom. I mean, that's exactly what we're supposed to do as a free nation, is take care of ourselves, not the government taking care of us. But, you know, government, they can't stand it. We're right now in a special session here in Nevada. I'll say Rick Trader predicted it, that we would go to the government to fix the shortfall, right?
Right.
They're having such a hard time, but they're saying, no, they're not going to do taxes, Rick. Not going to do taxes. That's what they went into. They were going to do all this through cutting government. And of course, they did a bunch of cuts.
If that was true, I'd love that, you know?
Well, they did do a bunch of cuts, but guess what? Not enough. So we're still looking down the barrel of a tax increase. But this is the kicker. In the second special session, now understand that Nevada is biennial, which means we only meet once every 2 years, which is a blessing for the state if no special sessions happen. And now we're going to get to one right after another here in the state. And the interesting thing about this is that because of COVID, they're not going to allow any lobbyists, no one to speak in any committees. It's a truncated form of legislation, which means that you just don't get to look at these items very long. You get to vote, right? You get them, you hear basically from no one, and you've got to make a decision. So that's what's going on. And some
Sharron,
of the
let me ask you a
things on the
question.
table are just crazy, Rick.
Sharron, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
When they bring, and I ask you because you served in the Nevada State Legislature, how long? 8 years?
Yes.
8 years. You're in the. Our minds already made up before they go into these hearings and questioning. Their minds are made up, and usually they're made up along a party line, aren't they? Unless you're 41 angle, the minds are right. Well, maybe your mind was already made up too when you voted no on all this
No, I
junk.
think that's why I could vote no so much, so indiscriminately, I guess is what they called it. But your mind shouldn't be made up because there's a lot of
It
testimony that
shouldn't,
comes
but
in.
isn't it usually? Don't these guys usually have their minds made up before all these hearings and investigations and report and wasting taxpayer money?
I found that is more true of one party than another in the
Mm.
legislature, but there are still some free thinkers, people that are waiting for that. The other thing they wait for, which is interesting, is not so much to hear from the experts, but they stick their finger up in the wind and see which way that wind is
Ah,
blowing, and then they make up their
eh,
mind. So not all.
ah.
That's why lobbying is so effective, because if they can see that the lobbying wins, that the prevailing wind is in a certain direction, they will not stick to their principles. They will vote with politics. And we watch that all the time in Washington. That's what gets me so excited. I can rant pretty long and hard about the cowardice that I see in Washington, D.C. And that's what makes cowardice, is no principles. They're not standing on anything, so they'll fall for anything. And that's where we're at. But some of the crazy things that we're going to get to look at is, of course, reforming of our police department. And also, we're going to get to look at having all mail-in elections. Now, this is something that they did for an emergency situation, but now they're saying, oh, but this is a great idea. Let's just do this. And I belong to a couple of groups. This one is the Election Integrity Alliance that I belong to. And it's an alliance of people across the nation. This letter's been addressed to President Trump, and it's been signed by Jay Delancey, who's the director of Voter Integrity Project North Carolina, Linda Payne, who we've had on this show many times, who is the Election Integrity Project California, and also Reagan George, who's Virginia Voters Alliance, and they have others in other states. Of course, I'm on this as well from Election Integrity Project Nevada. And what they're saying is the founders of Election Integrity Alliance implore, this is to Donald Trump, implore Donald Trump, your immediate response to a threat to this nation, the aggressive dismantling of our electoral process. Our more than 30 years of collective research have generated extensive evidence that a fair and honest election is not possible under current conditions. Under cover of COVID, enough state election laws are currently being manipulated so that even an electoral college majority can be stolen in a variety of ways. Mr. President, it is critical that you know what we know. We cannot trust our state leaders to solve these problems because in most cases, they are the problem. Certain federal laws are not being followed, and this results in grossly mismanaged voter rolls at the state levels. Examples include voters who are deceased, registered multiple times in the same state, voting multiple times in different states, and voting without citizen status. Many of these problems may be solved with an executive order to force agencies to execute laws that are already in place. Therefore, we respectfully request an emergency White House summit in order for state-based groups to articulate such evidence in an unfiltered environment. Our input will supply the evidence the mainstream mantra claims does not exist. We believe this is truly the last chance to do so. There is no tomorrow unless you act today.
Sharon Angle, we need to put that up on our website. We need to
Okay.
ask our viewers and listeners to copy it, sign it, and send it to President Trump. 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. Zip code. I don't even think you'll need a zip code. Just
Right.
Donald Trump, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. I bet it will get there. Sharon Angle, please put that up on our website.
I
I'm
will.
going to invest in what is a stamp? 48 cents? I don't know what a stamp is. 46 cents, 40. I'm going to invest a stamp on an envelope. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to sign my name to it. I'm sending it to Donald Trump.
Good work. And of course, we're asking people to put it on Facebook. You know, that seems to be where the people go to find out what the news is.
Yep.
Well, when you get it on your Facebook and you find it there, send your letter.
All right, will do. Sharon, let's take a quick break. We've got 3 great guests to talk about right after this break, and you are listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharon Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Guess what? Today's show it's brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. Sharon and I will be right back.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharon Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. And Sharon, I've said it for 12, going on 13 years now. Our guests are the hallmark of our show. Who will we be speaking with today?
Well, our first guest is Dr. Rich Swier. He's been on before. He's a conservative with a conscience and a 23-year Army veteran. He's written many articles. He has a website, drrichswier.com report. And we're going to be talking to him about a myriad of things today, specifically HR 5383, which is a new way forward, a euphemism for no borders.
Yeah.
Really. And our second
You know
guest,
that name, that word forward, new way forward, you know, the left love to use that word forward. I do believe it is a secret word for anything socialistic, communistic, anti-American. Let's use that word forward. I think that's a word that Stalin used. I think it was a word that Lenin used and Hillary Clinton used, and just I say it's a word. It's a key word for anything communist, socialistic. Forward.
well,
Oh,
it's one of
everything's got to
those
be forward.
words that is a euphemism for a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Our second guest is Robert Charles, who is the spokesman for AMAC, as well as being a former Assistant Secretary of State. We've asked him to come on and talk about an article he wrote, With Crime Exploding, Democrats Become Anti-Police.
Yep.
And our third guest is George Parry. We've had him on several times. He is becoming a longtime friend of the show. He is a contributor to the American Spectator, the Federalist, and the Philadelphia Inquirer, and he's also in private trial practice in Philadelphia. He's written an article, The Politics of Life and Death, and he goes into some detail in this article about hydroxychloroquine and the safe use that they're having really good success with in foreign countries, specifically Turkey, with 2 out of every million dying from COVID, as opposed to the United States, 243 dying from COVID out of every million. So I'm
a great
excited
show.
to talk to George. Yeah,
Right.
you know, at the topic of conversation last night was this young fellow, 30 years old, who died in Texas, San Antonio, Texas, after going to a COVID-19 party. They thought it was a hoax, and he says biggest mistake of his life. Well, really, the biggest
Hospital.
mistake of his life probably was going to a hospital that wouldn't administer hydroxychloroquine, or he couldn't get it from a doctor before he got in the hospital. So, you know, there's a lot of I'm with President Trump on this one. And I hear that he's still taking it, and that many heads of state are taking it as well, just to be sure. Just to be sure. If you're in one of those comorbidity classes, or in a certain age group, maybe you should be asking your doctor if you can get a hold of some of that hydroxychloroquine, just to be sure. And of course, in a state like Nevada, where it's banned, except in prison. We have a stockpile there at our prison. So
Are they giving it to the prisoners, Sharron? I know you've talked about this stockpile before, but are they giving it to the prisoners?
I doubt it. I think they're just, you know,
Why is it in a prison?
just saving it up. It's kind of like everything else the government does. They have these little funds and little stashes of stuff here and there, and when you find out about them, you go, well, so what are you going to do with that? Oh, well, it's there for a reason.
Sharron, something I wanted to talk about. This is really getting stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this cancel culture, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Crown, they're really getting stupid. Seattle, Washington, one of the major cities in our countries. Seattle to white employees, quote, your skin color is a crime.
Wow.
To white employees.
We have to add that to the beginning of the show, Rick, now, right? All of you white people whose skin color is a crime.
Yes. The city of Seattle recently summoned to its white employees only, essentially told them your skin color is a crime, according to a report from Tucker Carlson. It is truly extremist and Orwellian perversion of anti-racism training. The meeting was officially called interrupting racial superiority and whiteness, according to public records requested by City Journal reporter Chris Rufo and detailed in the video by Fox News commentator Tucker Carlson. Quote, white employees were told that their whiteness was offensive and unacceptable. They were further told to drop those qualities and undertake, quote, the work of undoing your own whiteness. Now, take that word white and replace it with black. How racist would that be, Sharron Angle?
It's racist when they use white. It's a racist comment. And, you know, this woke culture, I wonder if that really isn't an acronym for, you know, whites ought to be killed everywhere. You know, it's just like this, you know, it's this kind of divisiveness, but it's gone too far, Rick. You know, where we're being threatened. I feel like this is a threat now. You know, when they say that our skin color is a crime, this harkens back to before the Civil War. You know, this is what are we as white people now going to be lynched? Is that the next step? Well,
I don't want to say it's happening already, but we've seen numerous videos of white people being attacked, and we've seen videos of black people being attacked. But, you know, those aren't the white people being attacked. We don't see a lot of them. They're being hidden, covered up by the media. We've got a problem out there, Sharron Angle. And the problem is with this counterculture revolution, this Black Lives Matter revolution. And I really do think that maybe the idea of Black Lives Matter, yeah, you know what? All lives matter. But you're racist. You're racist if you say all lives matter. This idea of Antifa, this idea of tearing down the cities, defunding the police, it's crazy, Sharron Angle. And now, Seattle to white employees, your skin color is a crime. I mean, God forbid, what is going on next? Sharron, let's take a break and get our first guest on with us. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Rich Swier is going to be our first guest. He's a conservative with a conscience. We're going to be talking about something that's out there in Congress, the New Way Forward Act, which is actually an act to get rid of our borders. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this break.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $1.99 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. And for rebroadcast, check out our website, CCRShow.com. That's CCRShow.com. You'll find our TV show there, our radio show there, as well as a lot of terrific other articles and videos. Our first guest is with us, and Dr. Rich Swier is a conservative with a conscience. Rich is a 23-year Army veteran who retired as a lieutenant colonel. He was awarded the Legion of Merit for years of service. Additionally, he was awarded 2 Bronze Stars with V for heroism in ground combat, the Presidential Unit Citation, and the Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry while serving with the 101st Airborne Division in Vietnam. Dr. Rich now publishes drrich.com Report, a daily review of news, issues, and commentary, which I get every day and thoroughly enjoy. Dr. Rich, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, listen, it's my honor and pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for having me again.
You bet, buddy. You bet, buddy. Dr. Rich, I wanted to start out by talking about one of the things that was in your drrich.com report last week. And what gets me is when they come out with a new bill in Congress, they always give it this name. And usually the name has little to do or nothing to do with what the bill says. In fact, the name actually disguises what this bill actually does. And this bill is H.R. 5382, quote, the New Way Forward Act, the New Way Forward Act. Dr. Rich, thanks to you, I know there are a lot of alarming things in this bill, and I was going to ask you to talk a little bit about H.R. 5383 and what it actually would require.
Well, again, this is a bill introduced by the Democratic majority in our wonderful Congress, and it has to do with immigration. Now, if anybody's interested in immigration, obviously President Trump is interested in immigration. So you would think the new way forward would be something that would be positive for the American people. Well, guess what? It's not positive at all for the American people. As a matter of fact, it puts the American people at risk by empowering, literally empowering illegal criminals rapists, pedophiles, etc., etc., etc. And as a matter of fact, it literally guts what ICE can do. It cuts back their ability to go into areas, find these criminals, bring them before a court, and deport them. And even if they deport them, the American taxpayer is on the hook to bring these criminals back to America at our own expense. Probably we'll get them a first-class ticket on the local airline coming out of
course, we don't want them to be in any way inconvenienced or uncomfortable, you know?
Absolutely. Champagne, you know, caviar, bring it on. You know, this is about the worst piece of immigration legislation I have ever heard about, read about, thought about, or been concerned about. And what's crazy is it decriminalizes, it literally decriminalizes illegal immigration. In other words, anybody can come here no matter what their background is, whether they're a criminal, head of a drug cartel, a murderer, whatever, they can come and we will open our arms under this bill. And it has 44 sponsors in the Congress. Thank God it only has 44, but I'm shocked that it doesn't have all the Democrats railing behind it. This would be
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will eventually. Sharron Angle, let's talk about some of the things in it. It would all but eliminate detention for immigration purposes and impose new burdens on our already overtaxed immigration courts. Remember our friend Sharron Anna Little? I'm sure she'd be happy with that. Not. It would place erroneous restrictions on ICE officers and Border Patrol agents in making immigration arrests, including in desolate areas on the borders in the middle of the night. It would create a new statute of limitations of 5 years for the commencement of removal proceedings based on even the most serious criminal offenses. Sharron Angle, 44 members of the House of Representatives are co-sponsoring this bill.
Well, like Dr. Swier said, he's surprised there weren't more. I'm surprised there weren't more, but maybe they're starting to wise up to the problem with open borders. There's a reason why countries have borders and build walls and try to figure out who's coming in and out. We had a guest yesterday, in fact, that talked about COVID-19 and why the border states are seeing an uptick. What do you think about that, Dr. Rich Swier? I think there's a reason for borders, and this is maybe a place where we can educate some folks on why we have them.
Well, and that's the point. I think one of the issues when you come across the border illegally, there's nobody screening you for health issues. Now, you have to look at Central and South America. It is a petri dish for this COVID-19 Wuhan flu virus. I mean, there are tens of millions of people in Central and South America that have been infected by the virus. Now, if they come across the border, obviously, guess what happens? They're going to spread the virus. What's interesting is most recently, one of my other contributors, who is a former Border Patrol agent, determined that there were recently, last week, 3 Iranians that were caught at the border. 3 Iranians crossing illegally at the border. Now think about that. Is Iran our friend or not our friend? Why are they sending their people to come across the border illegally? What is that, a national security issue? Well, of course it's a national security issue. Health is a national security issue. A country without borders is not a country.
Mm-hmm. Sharron Angle, another thing that was reported on drrichswire.com report, and You know how Elon Musk. I don't think this guy is any good for anything. Elon Musk, except for taking taxpayer money. Well, he and another idiot are kind of getting together. Kanye West. I don't know, Sharron, if you ever have heard any of this guy's music. I haven't. But Kanye West said he is running for president. And he picked up the endorsement of no other than Elon Musk. Now, this just goes to show what I've been saying about this guy, Elon Musk, for eons and ages. Sharron, this guy is an idiot, except for when it comes to taking taxpayer money. Dr. Rich, what say you?
Well, I have to be careful because my granddaughter may be listening in, and she owns a Tesla.
Oh, my God. Obviously, those egg cords don't fall too far.
I'm going to be careful. Goodbye, Karen. This is the last time I'm going to be on the Raiders Conservative Commandos radio show. I had to confess that. Well, look.
That's a family secret that should be kept in the closet, Dr. Rich.
That's true. That's true. I'm going to go back in the closet, Rick. But no, I think it's interesting because Keon is running for president. I just read a headline before I came on the air. He has 2% of the vote.
Oh, my God.
Now, where are those votes going to come from? Is he going to come? Are they going to come from the Democratic Party? The answer is yes. They're going to come from the Democratic Party. Now, who was actually part of convincing President Trump, among others, of course, in the black community particularly, which is interesting, but who was the one that was always with the photo with the president, was to have this new legislation to change the way we have the prison reform system. In other words, people who were there either improperly or people who were there on sentences that were just totally outrageous for the crime committed, and the president led the way and actually got Congress to pass it, and he signed it into law. So who was constantly standing next to the president? Of course, you know who? The guy, the president. Kanye
Well,
West.
Sharron, maybe a third-party candidate like Kanye West would be good because it might draw off some of the idiot youth votes. You know, who would probably vote.
Yeah.
Sharron, what's your take on that?
Yeah.
Well, I was just going to point Dr. Swier to the Ross Perot effect. We all know what that is. And I think that anytime you have that third party come in, it's not a win for the third party, but it is a loss for somebody else. And that was my question. Who loses here?
Well, I think who loses here are people like my granddaughter. She would probably, she's 19, she's working, but, and I don't want to say this, not only does she own a Tesla, but she leans left. So now the question is, who would she vote for Kanye West and Elon Musk endorsing him? Now, what's interesting about, you're right, Elon has taken a lot of government money to do
like $10 billion.
But
like $10 billion bucks.
But under this administration, you have to understand that SpaceX was the one, for the first time in history, we had a non-governmental agency launch a space vehicle, a manned space vehicle from the John F. Kennedy Center in Florida. And who was it? It was SpaceX. Who is SpaceX? Elon Musk.
Well, Dr. Rich, if you check,
and it's all part of Trump's idea to get to the Mars.
Well, I'll tell you, Dr. Rich, I'm sure Sharron will back me up on this. The day before the launch, we had a very good friend of ours, Art Harmon, join us. He's the director of the Coalition to Save Man's Space Exploration. And at that time, I said, I am very uneasy, very, very uneasy with SpaceX and Elon Musk They do not have a very good record with that Falcon rocket. I hope I'm wrong. I pray that I'm wrong, but I think this is going to lead to be a disaster for U.S. space exploration. Hey, Dr. Rich, we got to go to a quick break. Could you hold on for just a couple of moments for us, please?
Yes.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Drader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. Dr. Rich Swier is our guest here, and we're talking about a myriad of items that appear on drrichswire.com report. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. My co-host today is Sharron Angle. I'm Rick Trader, and I want to give a shout out to you folks who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., as well as seen on the AUN television network. Our guest this segment is Dr. Rich Swier. He is a conservative with a conscience. He's also the publisher of the drrichtswire.com report. And Sharron Angle, I know you want to pick up this conversation with Dr. Rich.
I do. Well, I want to switch gears just a little bit, because one of the things that you've made almost an equal sign is Black Lives Matter made in China. Talk about that. How did those two things correlate? Now, I know they say we've been trained as Marxists, but is that the only correlation?
Well, I think when you see something on a clothing or whatever it is, and it says made in China, it's made in a communist country. Well, Black Lives Matter is a communist organization. I mean, it's a Marxist organization. It's co-founders. There are three women. It started in actually where I grew up. I grew up in the North County of St. Louis, and I went to Ferguson Florissant High School. Okay? Well, guess where Black Lives Matter started? In Ferguson, Missouri. Now, there are three women behind it. They're all black, of course, but the two of them are lesbians. This is not about blacks. This is a communist movement, it's a Marxist movement, and it's an LGBT movement. They march in the LGBT parades. This is what it's all about. It's about undermining our values, undermining our nation, literally taking our nation and destroying it. And they do it from the inside out. They do it like it was done under Mao Zedong. It was done from the inside out. And so what they're doing is they're rotting away at the core of America. So they are, in fact, made in China. Russia, the former Soviet Union, is gone. We defeated the Soviet Union under Ronald Reagan. But China is still there. It's probably our greatest threat right now, not only militarily, particularly in the western part of the Pacific, but it's also a threat to us financially, and it's a threat to us politically. I mean, there's this big going on about TikTok, which is an app that's owned by the Chinese. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is all part of a strategy of the Democrats to infiltrate and grab the minds and heart and soul of our youth. And that's what's sad, is that we have literally people who are marching in the Black Lives Movement wearing Che Guevara t-shirts, wearing their democratic socialists, which are really communists. They are look, for 23 years I fought in one war. It was called the Cold War. I never, ever, ever, once the Soviet Union fell, thought I would be seeing two grassroots organizations, Black Lives Matter and Antifa, and one major political party, the Democratic Party, although I would call it the Democrat Party, they're not democratic at all. Those organizations are working totally in concert to destroy what we have in our Constitution, what our lives, our welfare, our livelihoods, and so on. So, look, it is what it is. It's a socio-political movement. What we're facing is, you remember the Cultural Revolution in China? This is a cultural revolution. That's what the author of that article is talking about. What we're seeing in America is not just people out there peacefully demonstrating. We're seeing a cultural revolution. Now, some of them, they've got a new word for it. It's called woke, a woke culture. But it's a cultural revolution, exactly like what happened in China. And guess what happened during the Cultural Revolution? Hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people were literally slaughtered or put in re-education camps.
Well, Dr. Rich, you see this wherever you have these revolutions, like the French Revolution. Believe me, if you do a little bit of study, investigation into the French Revolution, in my opinion, it actually has set France back. Everything great involved in France was created before the French Revolution. The French Revolution was nothing romantic. Maybe you could say the American Revolution was. It was murder. It was torture. It was destruction. It was very much like what we're seeing in the streets of America today. Tearing down everything that built France, just as this movement is to tear down everything good that was built in America. Hey, Dr. Rich, we've got to run. We've got to grow. We're up against this thing called a clock. But please tell our audience how they could follow the Dr. Rich Swier report.
Yes, drrichswire.com. Just go to drrichswire.com. We have an online magazine. We have some great contributors, among them the Conservative Commandos radio program.
Go figure. Go figure. Dr. Rich, always great to speak with you. You are a true patriot. Thank you. Thank you for your service to our country as active military and now in what you do. And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. On the other side, Robert Charles is going to be joining us. He has written a very interesting, with crime exploding, Democrats are actually becoming anti-police. Go figure. These people are idiots. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000.
You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club
for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry.
They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more.
Call the number on your screen now for a free no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and zero deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. And once again, for rebroadcasts, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You'll find our radio rebroadcast there, our TV show there, as well as a lot of other terrific articles and great information. And with that, Sharron, we do have our next guest with us, and please make him feel welcome as you do with all our guests.
Well, it's my honor and privilege to introduce Robert Charles, who is also a spokesman for AMAC, as well as a former Assistant Secretary of State. He also served in the Reagan and Bush 41 White Houses and counsel to the U.S. House National Security Subcommittee for 5 years. Additionally, he ran a major portion of the U.S. House Oversight Committee for 5 years, during which time he ran the Joint Committee in the Waco investigations. He be ideal for speaking to what's next after impeachment and the congressional craziness. So that's basically what we're doing here, is we're going to talk about some more congressional craziness. You've written an article, Robert, what with crime exploding, Democrats become anti-police. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show, Robert, and let's discuss that article.
Well, thank you very much. And let me say that people forget AMAC.us or AMAC represents older Americans. It's sort of the conservative group that represents older Americans. And 35% of all those who vote, I think people need to remember, are over the age of 50. And actually 25% of all those who vote are over the age of 65. And so we're in an environment right now where those votes and a kind of a balance, I'll say, in favor of law and order, respect for history, respect for the ideals in our Bill of Rights, those are really coming to the fore. And in that group in particular, it really matters. So my recent article was highlighting the fact that we are living in almost surreal times when, on the one hand, you hear words like rule of law, you talk about equality and liberty and freedom, but we all have to, I think, just take a deep breath and realize there is no rule of law if you have no enforcement of law, and that means if you have no law enforcement. And I think what we're seeing here in a microcosm in the last couple of weeks, really the last 5 weeks, is what happens when a craziness, if you, to borrow your word, takes hold. When you talk about defunding and delegitimizing and denigrating the police, you are really talking about kicking the feet right out from underneath a civil society. And I say that, and I'll just bring data to the table. I mean, in Seattle, there's been a 525% increase in crime in the last I think 3 or 4 weeks. You've seen a 250% increase in murders in Los Angeles, 130% increase in crime in New York. You've seen suburban America, and this is a very important point, suburban America start to become infiltrated by an uptick in crime. So in suburban Maryland, a 30% uptick in crime. And I think you have to recognize that, as Edmund Burke once said, all it takes for evil to prevail is for good people to do nothing. And all it takes for society to come apart at the seams is for us to give up on those who put on a badge and put on a vest and put on a gun and leave their families every day to go out and protect us. And so we owe, I think, a civil duty. Civil rights come with civil duties, and we owe a civil duty to respect those men and women. There's only 900,000 of them nationwide to protect 326 million Americans. We owe them everything, and I think we need to recognize 99% of them are the best among us, and I think we just need to start respecting that group.
I think you're right. And speaking of respect, there seems to be a waffling on the Democrat side to even acknowledge that they do need to be respected. Talk about the inconsistency with Joe Biden, for instance.
Well, you've put your finger on a big one right there. Joe Biden, as recently as a year ago, was bragging that he was the godfather, if you will, or the father of the 1994 crime bill, which was a bill that actually passed in a bipartisan way, 95-4, I think it was, in that year. And his brag was that it had lowered overall violent crime in this country by 50%. Now, the truth of the matter is, it was a bipartisan bill. It did come through his committee, and he used to be a law enforcement supporter. That's the great irony. And it did lower crime. I mean, it was supported by everybody from Bill Clinton to George Bush, but it lowered crime, and it continued to do so through recently, especially counter narcotics. Very important, because that's a very corrosive force in our society, narcotics and narcotics-related gangs, domestic and international. So the answer, the initial thinking was, okay, so he's trying to make himself out in this campaign to be a pro-law enforcement guy. Well, all of a sudden come this socialist-driven agenda to defund the police, and he flips completely. And last week, in the last 2 weeks, although he refuses to take any questions, he seems to be hunkered down in his basement, which is very telling. I don't know of many presidents who run for the office hunkered in a basement. But in any event, whatever his character flaws may be, he came out and refused to take any questions, but called law enforcement the enemy, and then advocated for defunding. Now, that is not only 180 degrees opposite from where he was a year ago, it is counterintuitive. It is, in my view, anti-American. We do not come out and castigate the vast majority of our police who spend every day of the week standing between us and bad actors, and I just think it's disingenuous. I think it's unfortunately it's something that we're going to probably see a lot more of between now and November. But I think people just have to take a grip of this situation. They have to think for themselves. I mean, Americans are always best when they think for themselves. And if you think for yourself, you cannot get along locally without someone at the other end of that 911 call. If you think you can, you're living in a dream world or a nightmare world. We do not want 1984. We do not want the dysfunction that people like Ray Bradbury wrote about, Fahrenheit 451, where you burn books and you give up on the police. We need a world in which we have predictability, reliability, and a sense of fairness dedicated to the proposition that rule of law matters. And I think, unfortunately, Joe Biden is showing that he'll flip with the wind.
Well, it's not just Joe Biden. It seems to be the whole Democrat Party. And that struck me in your article. You said that national Democrats know this is wrong. If they know it's wrong, then why are they participating? What's wrong here?
Well, you, again, have sort of guided the boat right to where it needs to go. What the Democratic Party nationally has done is they know it's wrong, but they don't have the courage to say so. They have folded to the far left. The far left, with these AOC characters, and they've redefined who the Democratic Party is. And I think this is one of the most defining elements of this election cycle, and one that makes this perhaps the most important election in the last 100 years, at least the most important election in the last 50 years. Because what we're seeing right now is a choice between the far left, which has dominated the Democratic Party now, and the moderates are not standing up. They have basically caved. I didn't think that would happen. I thought that what would happen is that fringe would stay a fringe. But that's not what's happened. In fact, they've all become cowed. And I'll tell you right now, if John Kennedy or Harry Truman were alive today, they would not recognize the Democratic Party. It has become a party of neo-Marxists. It has become a party that just puts out false information about what America stands for every day of the week. We do not stand for the repression of those liberties in our Bill of Rights, not the First Amendment, not the Second Amendment, not the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the Tenth Amendment, which reserves rights to states and to the people. And this is in many ways why AMAC exists. AMAC.us, you become a member, you get all the discounts that older Americans get, which is wonderful, particularly in these times. But you also get their fantastic magazine, with, in my view, better than Time magazine. It gives you things you won't get anywhere else. You get their alerts from the websites on everything from the virus to benefits to Social Security to the COLA to the, they monitor everything. And I think the most extraordinary thing is they speak up for the constitutional rights that we all believe in, that we grew up with, that we know are the foundation of this country. If you believe in that, then you believe in what AMAC believes in. And if you believe in that, then you believe in America.
I want to go back to what you said about courage. What you're saying is that AMAC has the courage to tell the truth. Well, in Congress, it's not just the Democrats that seem to be lacking in courage. We have a real courage deficit across the board in both parties. And I don't know how you make people brave. How do you do that?
I think history is what does that. In other words, what you have to do is get people to pause and to look back at what those principles were, the risks that were taken, whether it's in business or in the military or in law enforcement or even in your private life, risks that you took for others, that others took for us. There's no human being alive today that doesn't owe the world to somebody or some group of somebody's. And I think that, I have a lot of relatives buried at Arlington, and every once in a while I just go walk through that cemetery and I think to myself, what is it that would make me equal to my time? What is it I have to do because of what they did for me? That's an understanding of history. And you don't have to have relatives buried at Arlington. All you have to do is read a little bit of history to understand the World War II generation, frankly, Korean War, Vietnam War, and on the civilian side, those that raised us, our parents and grandparents. We owe the future a passing forward of the virtues, the values, the courage of our convictions, which does not mean running around trying to tear things down. It means standing up for the history that gave us who we are today. America is no accident. As my kids and others in our family know, America is no accident. It is a function of extraordinary risks taken over an extended period of time like no other place in the world. And, when it comes to tearing things down versus preserving them and building them, I'm always reminded of an old phrase, a little off color, but the idea was that any jackass can kick down a barn, but it takes a carpenter to build one. And it's a lot harder to build things up than it is to tear them down.
It is, and I know that Rick's going to want to pick this up on the other side of our break here. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos radio show network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. I'm Sharron Angle, here co-hosting with Rick Trader, and we've been talking with Robert Charles about an article that he wrote with crime exploding, Democrats become anti-police. Don't go away. We'll be right back after these messages.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Angle. And we want to say hello to our friends that are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, as well as seen on the AUN television network in places like San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, and you understand the West Coast there. Our guest this segment is Robert Charles. He's a spokesman for AMAC, the Association for Mature American Citizens. We're discussing an article he wrote with Crime Exploding, Democrats Becoming Anti-Police. Robert, I would say crime is exploding because of what is happening in our country today, with the left coming out and being enemies of the police. Now, Robert, I as a kid I drove a lot of junker cars. I had a lot of run-ins with the police. Some of them weren't so good. Some of those times the police were there to help me. Like when I got a flat tire on a rainy night and the cop stopped to help me change my tire. Like when my car stalled out at an intersection, there was a policeman behind me to push me off the road. I had negative run-ins too, but what I found out was if you treat them the way you want to be treated, generally you're going to have a better outcome. But you had some very interesting statements in your article. Anti-police rhetoric is destroying morals, including officers, to leave with departments. Of the top 20 most violent cities, 17 are led by Democrats. In New York, nerves are raw. Police are exhausted. Crime is rising. And their budgets are being cut. Robert, we hear this idea of the thin blue line. And that thin blue line is what keeps our communities peaceful. Removing that thin blue line drives us into anarchy. Am I over dramatizing this point?
No, actually, you're not. What's extreme in this moment is the behaviors that we're witnessing that are failing to appreciate what police do. I'll go maybe even a step further than you. I believe that law enforcement officers are the best among us. They are the ones that live to help other people. That's what they chose for their profession. Like a teacher chooses to teach, a law enforcement officer chooses to take risks, whether it's in a domestic violence environment, whether it's stopping a bank robbery, whether it's breaking up a drug trafficking gang. They choose to take risks in order to go to sleep at night knowing that what they've done is for the betterment of mankind and for the betterment of our society. And I'll tell you, I have worked with police. So in my days as an assistant secretary of state, my job was to manage for Colin Powell and George W. Bush a $2 billion budget for counter-narcotics and law enforcement training and operations globally. So we managed everything from aviation to the training on the ground in 70 countries. There is no country in the world that has a better police force, not even one that compares favorably with ours. Our police force is the best trained at the local, state, and federal level. They're the most responsive. They are drawn from the very communities over which they police. They are a public service. They're peace officers. That's how they're sworn to be, and that's what they do. And I think the first thing people need to understand is that your police officer isn't just your friend some of the time. They're your friend all of the time. I'll never forget, and I'm going to pull a story right out of the hat. I will never forget that a Democrat lieutenant governor in Maryland with a very famous last name had a sibling who was a heroin addict. And she rolled out a program at the time joined by Republicans that was called Break the Cycle. And the idea behind this was law enforcement could intercede to put someone in position where they could get drug treatment and get them off. And she said openly, her brother, who was one of the children of Robert Kennedy, would have been dead were it not for law enforcement. Okay, law enforcement is there to help us even when we're not doing the things we should be doing. So let's start there. Good citizenship is the paragon of good citizenship is your law enforcement officer, your fireman, your EMS responder, and your police officer. Now let's look at what's happening today in the data that you just recited. Morale is going through the floor because, if no good deed goes unpunished, you begin to wonder why you're doing good deeds. Okay, you had an increase last week of 400% year over year of retirements in New York. People putting in their papers. In Washington D.C., they just did a private survey, and in a bureau, in a police department that is 52% black, 71% of them said they are going to leave the force if the council removes their qualified immunity, which is to say you can always be prosecuted for doing something that's against a statute, but if you use your best efforts, under pressure to do the right thing, you should not be prosecuted for that, and that's the way the law has always been. So ironically, if we fail to appreciate our police, we will end up without police, and they will end up sort of a socialist group. And I'll just tell you one other thing. I talked with social services, and they tell me there is no way that social services are going to respond to a 911 call. Just put that thought to the back of your mind. That is not going to happen. So we're in a tough moment right now. We need to kind of come to our senses.
Robert, let's talk about the upcoming election. We have a presidential election in just a few months. I've sat here on the Conservative Commandos radio show and said that what Donald Trump needs to run on, not the economy, but law, order, security, because that's what people want even above a stable economy. My thinking too far outside the box here?
No. So history, by the way, is with you. In 1972, Richard Nixon had a fair economy, but he ran on law and order, and he won an overwhelming. Actually, he had a landslide in 1972, the same way Ronald Reagan did in 1984. I think the only difference I would say is that Donald Trump, like Ronald Reagan, used tax cuts. Actually, John Kennedy used tax cuts too, to spur an economy on. And in doing that, Donald Trump, generated the best economy in 60 years in every single demographic, for Black Americans, for Hispanic Americans, for women, for younger, for older. And I think one of the things the AMAC generation honestly sees with some historical perspective is that kind of leadership is rare. When you cut regs and you cut taxes and you trust the American people to keep their own money and do well with it, they do well with it. So the only thing I would combine is I would say you need law and order. If you do not have a law and order president, this violence will spread from the cities to the suburbs. We do not want that.
Are your AMAC members also getting this message, Robert?
Yes, they are. In fact, I would argue that they're helping to promote the message. They were at the White House this week. They are constantly engaged across the United States in all 50 states. There are more than 2 million AMAC members. It grows every day. I would encourage all your listenership, if you believe in America and you want an organization that stands up and fights with credibility, with integrity, with determination, and without sort of a failing heart, but rather with an unworried heart, but a determined heart. I mean, we talked about courage earlier, and I think a lot of AMAC members stand up courageously and say, look, this is the country I grew up in. I believe in this country. 76% of them have family members that were veterans. 26% of them are veterans. And so AMAC.us, you not only get all these benefits, as we talked about earlier, but you get an advocate who is there in Washington constantly, ceaselessly saying that there is a right and there is a wrong, that there is a truth and there is an untruth. And when you hear socialism trumpeted as if this idea of a Soviet state is a good thing, don't even go there. That's not America, right? America believes in the Bill of Rights and the constitutional process, and so I guess I believe this election comes down to a combination of security, stability, rule of law, and the economy.
Robert Charles, AMAC, Association for Mature American Citizens. We want to thank you so much for joining us here on Conservative Commandos. And one more time, Robert, please give out that AMAC website.
Yes. So it's amac.us. And, I will just tell you the reason I work with them is that I worked in Ronald Reagan's White House. I worked in George Herbert Walker Bush's White House. I worked for Colin Powell. I was an intelligence officer for 10 years. I see AMAC as the natural extension of the preservation of goodness. And as de Tocqueville said, America will always be great as long as we are good. If we fail in being good, we will fail at being great. AMAC is there to help us be both good and great, which I think is what most Americans honestly want.
All right, very good. Robert Charles, AMAC, thank you so much for joining us here on Conservative Commandos Radio Show. Take care and God bless.
Thank you, sir. And man.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos Radio Show with Sharron Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to have George Parry join us. He is a contributor for the American Spectator, and George has written an article, The Politics of Life and Death. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast. Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
Once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader. My co-host is Sharron Angle. And for rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Please don't forget to like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And with that, Sharron, we do have a gentleman who's getting to be a longtime friend of the show, and please welcome him back.
Well, it's a pleasure always to introduce George Parry, who is a contributor to the American Spectator, the Federalist, and also the Philadelphia Inquirer. George is a former federal and state prosecutor. He's also served as special attorney for the Organized Crime and Racketeering Section of the U.S. Department of Justice, a unit chief in the Investigations Division, Philadelphia District Attorney's Office, and a special organized crime prosecutor for Blair and Cambria counties in central Pennsylvania, as well as a legal analyst at KYW-TV. George now has a private trial practice in Philadelphia. George, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, great to be back. Thank you.
It's great to have you, and especially, I love your articles. This one's no different. Love this one, too. The Politics of Life and Death. We're talking about hydroxychloroquine and a lawsuit that's been filed with regard to this drug. So take it away. Let us know the particulars of the lawsuit, who's in it, and why it's really important to all of us to pay attention.
Okay, the article that you can find in the American Spectator deals with a lawsuit by the American Association of Physicians and Surgeons, and it's a physician advocacy group that was founded in 1943. Excuse me, and they have filed suit against the Food and Drug Administration and certain sub-agencies of the Food and Drug Administration because in regard to the drug hydroxychloroquine, the FDA had put in place an emergency use authorization for hydroxychloroquine, which limited the use of that drug to the treatment of hospitalized patients and to clinical trials. And the FDA imposed an embargo on 150 million doses of hydroxychloroquine that had been donated by pharmaceutical companies to the Strategic National Stockpile, which is maintained by the FDA. The lawsuit contends that the emergency use authorization was prohibiting physicians from making prophylactic use, that is, the use of hydroxychloroquine on an outpatient basis to prevent people from catching COVID-19. And it was also requiring that the drug be used only in a hospital setting. And that is a real problem in regard to the use of hydroxychloroquine, because it has been well established that in order for the drug to be effective, you must use it early on in the disease process, that is, before people wind up in the hospital. And as a matter of fact, it has been well established that when using hydroxychloroquine on an outpatient basis, that is early on in the disease process, it is highly effective. I mean, there is a north of 90%. And so you had this emergency use authorization that was tying physicians' hands, even though theoretically the FDA does not set the standard of care for physicians and cannot require physicians to do anything. It nevertheless was being used as a guideline for state medical boards and pharmaceutical boards, as well as a number of Democrat governors who have outright forbidden the use of hydroxychloroquine. So the association filed suit in federal court seeking injunctive relief to have the emergency use authorization removed and seeking the release of the 150 million doses of hydroxychloroquine. About a week after the complaint was filed, the FDA announced that it was withdrawing its emergency use authorization, and that would cure supposedly one part of the problem raised by the association. But in its withdrawal, the FDA said, well, there's really no evidence that hydroxychloroquine works. As a matter of fact, we think it's rather dangerous to use it, and so there's no good reason to use hydroxychloroquine, and they maintain to this day the embargo on the 150 million doses of the drug in the strategic national stockpile. So the litigation continues. And in their complaint, the association spells out all the reasons why hydroxychloroquine is a very effective prophylactic to prevent people from catching COVID-19 and a highly effective treatment and low-cost, inexpensive treatment, which it can be used early on in the disease process to cure COVID-19.
Now you've just opened up so many areas I want to ask you about, but first I'm going to opine about a 30-year-old that went to a COVID-19 party, caught the disease, and died in Texas. They don't even mention the use of hydroxychloroquine, and you're saying it probably wouldn't have helped anyway because they wouldn't have given it to him before he reached the hospital, and that's the whole point.
Well, one of the attachments to the association's complaint was prepared by a physician who catalogs all of the ways in which it has been made very difficult for physicians to prescribe hydroxychloroquine. That is, they can prescribe it, but they're having difficulty finding pharmacies that will fill the prescriptions because thanks to the opposition by Food and Drug Administration, as well as Dr. Anthony Fauci and all of these other bureaucrats, many physicians are afraid to even prescribe hydroxychloroquine, and the one difficult to obtain or find pharmacies that will fill the prescriptions. So this has been a huge problem. I don't know the specifics of the case involving the 30-year-old in Texas, but it's clear based on all of the evidence that we have, and I'm talking now not only about anecdotal evidence, as so-called by Dr. Fauci, from treating physicians all across the country and around the world, that this stuff works. I'm also talking now about a recent study out of the Henry Ford Health System where they treated, as a part of a clinical patient study. They treated hospitalized patients at the Henry Ford hospitals, and it more than cut the death rate in half. Actually, it was about 60 to 70% effective.
Wow.
In treating those hospitalized patients who were very sick. So even when it's used relatively late in the process, it can be very effective. So the issue here that has been joined by the association is we want the Strategic National Stockpile to release the 150 million doses of hydroxychloroquine for use here in the United States. And we want the FDA to basically stop getting in between physicians and their patients and running this scare program about hydroxychloroquine.
Well, it seems to me that Dr. Fauci et al. Have a dog in this fight. They have a vested interest because they love the pharmaceutical companies. Some of them are even invested in pharmaceuticals. And this seems to be a direct conflict with a vaccine that they wanted to develop. So I'll let you take that over on the other side with Rick. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host Rick Trader, and we've been talking with George Parry about an article that he wrote, The Politics of Life and Death. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled, regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
And once again, we want to welcome you back. This is the Conservative Commandos radio show, even though we are on television, but that's what we're called. And we're coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. Our guest this segment is George Parry, and George has written an article that's right now up on the American Spectator. The Politics of Life and Death. George, thank you for holding through that break. We appreciate your time. George, this has really become a political football, and I've been saying for a long time now that the real controversy is Donald Trump endorsed this way back. He was trying to help the American people. He said, hey, this could possibly work. We've gotten some reports here. And since that time, the media and the left has done everything to get rid of this drug. Absolutely get rid of this drug. But according to your article, there is some real solid evidence that this drug does work. And by the way, George, could you hold up your hands? Show our audience that you have 10 fingers. And I ask you this because, George Parry, you've taken this drug, right?
I have.
None of your body parts fell off, right?
Not even my hair fell out. So just further to that point, I took a trip to Africa about 9 years ago, and I went to see an infectious disease specialist, and he gave me a prescription for hydroxychloroquine. There was no electrocardiogram conducted. There was no blood work. There was no concern whatsoever. He gave me the prescription, and he said, start taking this stuff 2 weeks before you go to Africa. Take it the whole time you're there, and take it for 2 weeks when you come back. And I did. There were no complications. And frankly, it's been used. I took it for malaria prophylaxis, but it's been used for 65 years to treat malaria, to prevent malaria, to treat lupus and other inflammatory diseases. And it has a better safety profile than aspirin. And yet, once the president endorsed hydroxychloroquine, you had guys like Joe Biden saying, oh, come on, man, what are you doing? You know, when Trump said he was taking it prophylactically, which it turns out, by the way, most world leaders are, when Trump said he was taking it prophylactically, you had Biden and people like him. I remember Biden saying, that's like injecting yourself with Clorox. They want people to think that this is a deadly drug, and it is not. There was a study out of Brazil that was published by the Journal of the American Medical Association about all these people dying who were being given chloroquine, which is an analog of hydroxychloroquine. Well, it turns out those patients were being overdosed with chloroquine, and there's that whole study is now under review and may be withdrawn by the Journal of the American Medical Association. The point is, it's a very, very safe drug, and all of this talk about how deadly it is and how reckless it is to take it is just part of the overall campaign that is being waged by the left to scare America to death. They have us where they want us. They've got everybody in a blind panic about COVID-19, which, as the evidence continues to mount, it's becoming clearer and clearer every day that it's just about as lethal as the seasonal flu. It's more contagious, but the infection fatality rate continues to drop and drop and drop. And the bottom line, we're fast reaching the point where it's going to be established that COVID-19 is about as deadly as the seasonal flu. And yet, what have we done? We've wrecked our economy, we've shut the country down, and now they want to use it as an excuse to conduct voting by mail in November. I mean,
yeah, they want to use it as an excuse to get rid of Donald Trump, and that is it in a nutshell.
Yeah, there's no
excuse they can
find for this disease. I mean, give them time. I'm sure they'll come up with something else. But yeah, it would be comical. And livelihoods have been destroyed by this ridiculous lockdown. And I think in the first instance, and I don't want to go off on a toot here. You stop me anytime you want, Rick. But
keep going, George.
I think Trump got rolled by Dr. Fauci early on with that 15 days to flatten the curve, and that has taken on a life of itself, where we have various governors throughout the United States now that the economy has been has been wrecked, they now have their thumbs on the kill switch, and they can do it again. You've got Gavin Newsom in California getting ready. Well, he already has shut down a large part of the economy because what? The infections are going up? Okay, infections are going up because the testing is going up. But how about the death rate? What's happening to the death rate? And that continues to decline, and it's going to continue to decline. And one of the reasons is we have physicians who are using hydroxychloroquine, and there are other treatments equally effective and equally inexpensive that are being used involving steroids, because how hydroxychloroquine kills, it isn't the virus that kills, it's the body's inflammatory reaction to the virus. And there are a lot of smart physicians who figured out if you treat the inflammation with anti-inflammatory drugs, you can save those patients. And that's just one more reason why COVID-19 is not the deadly black plague that we were told it was going to be when all of this started.
George, Rick Bright, Director of the Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. Tell us about good old Rick Bright and his part in all this.
All right. Well, let me preface this that I don't know Rick Bright. I don't know anything about him, but I do know what the Association of the American Association of Physicians and Surgeons say in their complaint about him. They point out that Rick Bright is an Obama appointee, and
bingo.
He's a director of that entity, which is part of the group that has embargoed the hydroxychloroquine. And according to the complaint filed in federal court, he came to this determination about hydroxychloroquine with a predisposition for remdesivir, which is the drug that is the experimental drug that is being produced by Gilead Sciences. And they contrast. Well, first of all, they say Bright has been openly critical of President Trump, and that he is in favor. He had a preconceived concept, I believe those are their terms, concerning remdesivir. And they point out that remdesivir is an experimental drug that has not demonstrated that it will, in fact, enhance survivability. So far, the testing shows that it will possibly cut the length of a hospital stay by about 4 days, but the course of treatment with remdesivir costs about $3,000.
A lot of money to be made there. I mean, what's hydrochloroquine cost? About 10 cents a pill?
Well, it's a full course of treatment with hydroxychloroquine is about $20.
$20 versus $3,000. Oh, let me see. If I'm making this remdesivir, I could make a whole lot more money on that than hydrochloroquine.
Yeah, and according to the association, the government has already purchased I think it was like 500,000 doses or whatever is being produced by Gilead Sciences. And so you can do the math. We're talking about a huge amount of money, and the flip side of it is hydroxychloroquine. There's tons of it. It's been in production. It's not an experimental drug. There's a known safety profile, and it is dirt cheap.
Yep.
So you can
George,
kind of speculate as to what's driving this discussion.
George, I just want to leave us with this one last line you have in your article. The AAPS also cites a May 29, 2020 BBC report, quote, coronavirus, how Turkey took control of COVID-19 emergency. George, they stopped it in Turkey. I guess they're not having a presidential election over there, are they?
Well, I think the rest of the world, I mean, the complaint sets forth all of the countries where hydroxychloroquine has been used as a prophylactic and to treat COVID-19. And the stats are startling. There is a table in the complaint that contrasts not only Turkey, but Brazil, China, all these other countries, where in India, by the way, which has a policy where they're handing out hydroxychloroquine across the board. And if you look at the number of infections and compare the number of infections and fatalities, you have in those countries, which are far less developed than the United States, you have a death rate of about 2 per million. You get to the United States, where hydroxychloroquine has been prohibited, and we have a death rate of 278 per million.
Incredible. George Parry, we got to run, but we want to thank you so much, George, for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. George, please tell our viewers and listeners how they could keep track of what you're up to and what you're writing about.
Okay, I have a blog, and it is knowledgeisgood.net. That's all one word, knowledgeisgood.net. And it's a free blog. You might enjoy it, and I hope people will for it.
I get it once a week. I enjoy it, George. And I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Conservative Commandos. Take care. God bless. And George, hold up those hands one more time. Let's show our audience.
See, my hair didn't fall out. I still have a tongue.
Hey, George, you got a hell of a lot better hair than I do. And I never took this stuff. I hope I never have to. But, my God, I would like to think it's there available for me if I want to.
Yeah,
what about the right to try? Don't I have the right to try?
Yeah, right to try it. Who knows, Rick? You may grow some hair if you take it.
Maybe. Good reason to take it. George Parry, thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
Okay, thank you so much.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Engel and hairless Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative. Why do you think I wear a hat? Coming to you from the Conservative Commandos studio. Don't go away. Sharron and I will be back with more right after this break.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Broken AC, $4,600. Water heater, $1,500. Fridge on the fritz, $1,000.
You need home warranty coverage from the Home Service Club
for around $1 a day. If any of your covered appliances and systems break down, HSC will either repair or replace them.
HSC provides coverage of up to 47 different appliances and systems in your home.
I trust HSC.
HSC has over 15,000 pre-screened, highly rated technicians with the fastest response time in the industry.
They cover everything from ACs, stoves, fridges, pool pumps, and more.
Call the number on your screen now. for a free, no-obligation quote from a trusted HSC specialist about a home warranty for your entire home, backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Call now and get 1 month free plus $75 off your first year of coverage. 1 month free and $75 off your first year. The Home Service Club.
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for dental visits. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for transportation to my doctor. Did you?
I didn't know some Medicare Advantage plans may pay to have my prescriptions delivered directly to my home. Did you?
These and more are important benefits some Medicare Advantage plans may give you. So if you're eligible for Medicare, call us right now because you may be eligible to enroll in a plan with amazing additional benefits. Some Medicare Advantage plans may pay for services like these: dental visits, vision coverage, hearing coverage, home delivery of drugs, even gym memberships. Some plans may include no copays for many services and zero deductibles. Don't wait to find out if you're eligible to enroll in a plan that may include some of these wonderful benefits you deserve. Call us right now. The call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation. Make this free call now to learn if you're eligible to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that may include additional benefits you want. Call us right now.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
Well, Sharron, that just about wraps it up for today's show. I want to thank you for sitting in as my co-host. I greatly appreciate you, Sharron, and your camaraderie, your friendship, and your participation to make this little thing go. I don't know what I'd do without you. But please tell our audience where they could keep track of you when you're not here.
Well, it's very simple. SharonAngle.com. SharonAngle.com. By the way, I post all of our shows on my website as well. So if you're not sure about how to get to CCR show, hey, get to me. You'll get the show. SharonAngle.com. I want to thank our guests, Rick. I want to thank, first of all, Dr. Rich Swier, who is a conservative with a conscience. And he talked to us about a myriad of different topics, including Kanye West and the BLM equals made in China. Also the new act, the New Way Forward Act. We also talked with our friend Robert Charles from AMAC about with crime exploding, Democrats become anti-police, and they know it, and they know it's wrong. Finally, we talked with George Parry, who is a contributor to the American Spectator. He writes wonderful articles there. This one was called The Politics of Life and Death, but he really gave us a very personal and also a very professional look at hydroxychloroquine. And I'm just going to say to our audience, insist on having some of that, and possibly even taking some of it before you even have COVID-19, if you're in one of those at-risk groups. It's been proven prophylactic in many countries. In fact, Turkey, they've reduced their death rate from to 2 per million. I thought that was a wonderful
2 per
statistic.
million. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
2 per million. And we're at
Sharron,
243
it's so
per million.
aggravating. It's so maddening. This is available. It's cheap. It's been used for 65 years, Sharron. 65 years this drug's been used safely. George Parry told us he took his drug when he went to Africa to ward off malaria. I know my uncle had malaria from the Second World War. He used it. Yet it's become this political football, and it's all these politicians, these Democrats, these lousy, mean, hateful Democrats. They're using it. They're putting our lives at risk. Why? So they could destroy.
Don't forget the deep state, like Dr. Fauci. I hold him personally accountable for this.
All right. But with that, Sharron, we are out of time. We got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.